Some transfer signings are imminent. I expect signings. No shit, Sherlock. No fucking shit, Sherlock. Welcome back to the West Ham Network. Welcome to your West Ham Daily. You've already seen me rant. But let's dissect what David Moyes said post-match after being knocked out of the FA Cup. And let's just get straight down to the nitty-gritty. He was asked about anticipation of new signings before the end of the window, and Moyes simply replied, I would probably say yes to that. The truth is, we'll try and do some business. Undoubtedly, there's a desire from the club to try and do something. And from me and everybody there, the next part is, can we get the right players to come in and ones we think could help just now? Now, it's understandable that we want new signings, and I'm very all for that because that game highlighted that biggest issue whatsoever. But equally, though, what we do have is players out injured. We don't know when they're coming back. Hopefully, they will be back for the Sheffield United game. We're missing Bowen. We're missing Kudus. We're missing Paquetá. We're missing Alvarez. We're missing Antonio. We're missing Fornals. We're missing Agerd. Just to name a few. Then Ben Rama goes and gets himself sent off, and he's missing for the next 3 games. Danny Ings turns up and doesn't do as a job. Now, the problem is that if we're looking to offload Ben Rama, then that could be his last game in a West Ham shirt because he will be missing for 3 games. And the 3 games he'll be missing for means he would return back in February. And the window, as no, closes at the end of January. So he might not be a West Ham player. Will that be adios to Danny Ings as well? But we definitely have no problem moving those 2 players on because it's not going to be big gaps in our squad because I think we've got enough youth players there to cover them, and that's no disrespect to those players, but I think I would prefer Callum Marshalls of the world and of course Divine Mabama stepping up into that place. However, what we do need to do is bring strength and depth because that last night and yesterday showed us that we definitely lack in those areas. And David Moyes saying that we're looking at recruits, listen, we all know he is. We all know West Ham are. We have no doubts at all, but this should speed up that process. We have 2 weeks into the window. We haven't signed anyone yet, and we desperately need to bring recruits in. It is no ifs or buts about it. It is essential that he gets the job done. David Moyes himself wasn't happy about the game. Of course he wasn't, but who would be? It was a disgrace of performance. I don't need to go over that again, but what it does do is it really highlights where the issues are and how we move forward from there. What he said was it was a tough one. We probably should have won the tie at our place a week ago, but we didn't. We put ourselves under pressure, which we absolutely did. We gave away a goal and a short pass, but we should have been in to score. We overhit a pass to Danny Ings to score in the same action, and it was a calamity in that minute. We've had good peers and good control of the game, which I do agree with, but we couldn't take our chances when we got them. Tonight's not all about blaming anybody. Tonight is about us as a team and a club. We should have got the job done at London Stadium, and even tonight I felt like as if we should have had enough to get it done. We had enough chances to get something, but the games are tight. We've won a few and drawn a few tight ones, but tonight was tight and it went against us. Now, that's fine that David Moyes says that, but equally, though, it highlights the squad depth. And if you are talking about missing those minor details, then you need to address those quickly. He said, we still made some chances after the red card. We kept trying to find a way of being a team we could attack to get something from it. We, for a good chunk of it, did a good job. They had a few openings later on, and we were trying to find ways of getting it. Being down to 10 men and a goal down made it difficult. Let's be fair, we had been the better team in the first half, even though we hadn't scored. I do agree, and I was hoping our play would continue in the second half and we would score, but when we went to 10 men, it made it nearly impossible. And it did. It absolutely did. Equally, though, as much as it... Well, no, do you know what? It maybe didn't make it impossible because we had most of the chances, most of the game, the minute we went down to 10 men. He was really impressed with Callum Marshall. He said, we want to bring him on and nurture him in the right way. He's a great lad who scores goals and he's a lover of football, which I really like because it means he wants the ball and wants to play the game. He's a good boy. And he also said that the academy boys have really impressed him. And there's a huge step from playing in the academy to doing well in the Premier League and doing well. And it's an incredible journey to make. But I'm glad that they're trying to get some of the game time. And pleased we're getting some of them nearer the first team, which is a positive move as well. And he said up until 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had no injuries. We've got through the whole of the European campaign so far, and the Premier League games with no injuries and 2 players are also away to AFCON at the moment, which makes the numbers look worse, which they do. However, it is a squad game, and that highlights why we need to bring these recruits in. Now, I do put the full-blown faith into the system of what we've got. Tim Steidten, David Moyes, Mark Noble, Rob Newman, whatever you want to call it, whoever's in charge, they are doing their jobs to try and bring in these recruits. The thing that does still get to me this day is why we do business so late. I would prefer to do business a lot early. The later, I find, makes it more problematic when we could have the players in now, getting familiar with the situation, get familiar with the players, the squad, the setup, the surroundings, London, West Ham, the culture, you name it, the fans. We could be getting to know these players. Those players could be getting to know West Ham, and we could be one step ahead. So why leaving it so late? I will never know why West Ham choose to leave it so late. But maybe it is down to the fact that we need to make some sales. We need to free up some space, make some earnings, make some money, and Tim Stein's doing his job and going round, and maybe he's doing a couple of bits of acute bits of business. And the knocking back of the Benrahma deal from Marseille yesterday was maybe a cute piece of business, clever bit of business. West Ham not protecting their asset, going on loan, no obligation to buy. He doesn't play well. We don't sell the player. He's 6 months further into his contract. We are lacking that that person who would deal with that situation, and that's the whole point of bringing someone like Tim in. He's not just about player recruitment, he's about the whole managing of the technical area of players, and that is exactly what he's been brought in to do. David Moyes saying players and signings are imminent. Well, let's see if they are, and fingers crossed they do come in soon, because I think it will be good to challenge that, that switch up. I had a look at some stats over the last 3 years in terms of players in and out, and West Ham have sold 47 players and brought 47 players in. We're second from the top for the lack of rotation in players in and out. The team that is top is Crystal Palace, but other teams are at 60 players swapping over, 70 players swapping over. You get to Wolves, who are over 100 players in the same element of time. So there is that element of staleness, and there is time for players to move on, and we definitely do need some of those players to move on. Short and sweet one, maybe a second rant. Who knows what it is? We'll come back to you as much news as we possibly can when it comes to West Ham. Take it easy, and of course, come on, you